From the heart of our nation's capital, here's Family Research Council President Tony Perkins.
Welcome to this Friday edition of Washington Watch. We're broadcasting live from the First Baptist Church in Atlanta, Georgia, the site of this year's Pray, Vote, Stand Summit. By the way, the summit this evening will feature Ambassador Sam Brownback, Pastor Andrew Brunson, who was held in a Turkish prison for 2 years, Pastor Corey Brooks from the Project Hood in Chicago, Pastor Carter Conlon of Times Square Church in New York City. You can join us online by going to prayvotestand.org this evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Well, coming up on this edition of Washington Watch, Senate Democrats confirmed yesterday they plan to postpone any vote to codify a redefinition of marriage until after the midterm elections. Well, this is good news. It shows they realize they don't have the public support they need, that is, the Republicans. It's also a warning. It will be back in the lame duck session of Congress after the November election. Now, that means we've got to hold the line. We're going to talk more about that later. And Republicans in the House Freedom Caucus are urging their colleagues not to give Democrats an inch, or more accurately, a cent, in the push to expand government funding in the upcoming continuing resolution.
We are asking those who would purport to lead us, those who are asking our support in the next Congress, for Speaker, for Majority Leader, for Whip, and for Conference Chair, to join us in opposing this spending by this Congress and not give one Republican vote for 1 cent to fund this tyranny.
That was Congressman Bob Good of Virginia. We'll discuss all of this and more with Georgia Congressman Jody Hice, who is a member of the House Freedom Caucus, and he spoke this afternoon here at the Pray, Vote, Stand Summit. And the White House is backing Vice President Kamala Harris's claim that the southern border is secure.
Is the border secure? I'm just going to refer back to the Vice President. We agree with her. She is saying that there's a lot of work to do, right? She also said that in that very statement. We agree that the border is secure, but there is still more work to be done.
That was White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre yesterday, keeping a straight face when she said that, actually. Well, if the border is secure, then why are Democrat mayors like Chicago's Lori Lightfoot, who have been receiving migrants from Texas and Arizona, calling for help from the federal government?
This is not a new challenge at the border, but this is a new challenge for us, and we need federal support, resources, communication, and collaboration, and that has to come in short order.
Amazing. Everyone's been ignoring the crisis on the border until it wasn't actually on the border. It was in these sanctuary cities who were doing all this virtue signaling, saying, oh, we welcome everyone. Well, it sounds like they do have a communication problem. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. And throughout our time here at the Pray, Vote, Stand Summit, we've been reminded of President Biden's repeated war cry that we're in a battle for the soul of America. But we must not forget that the spiritual battle we face is global. Many of our brothers and sisters in Christ are being persecuted for their faith. We're going to discuss this with former Ambassador at Large for Religious Freedom, Sam Brownback, later on this edition of Washington Watch. And evidence here at home of this spiritual battle is the growing specter of crime and lawlessness. And while there is certainly measurable evidence that policies and political decisions impact the crime rate, the depth of the problem is beyond what an election can fix. The real battle is waged in the human heart. Pastor Corey Brooks sees this every day in his inner city Chicago church. And he is here, and he's going to talk about that when he joins us later here on Washington Watch. And lastly, how can we expect the church to boldly stand for and proclaim the gospel if they're not hearing it from the pulpit? Some disturbing research indicates that has increasingly become the case. George Barna, Senior Research Fellow at the Center for Biblical Worldview here at the Family Research Council, will join us to discuss these findings. The website is tonyperkins.com, and to join us at the summit this evening, it's prayvotestand.org/summit. The word for today, coming from the Stand on the Word Bible reading plan, which can be found at tonyperkins.com, is Proverbs chapter 31, verse 30, the final chapter of the book of wisdom with a description of a virtuous woman. A woman of valor is really what it means, and this is our verse for today. Charm is deceitful and beauty is passing. But a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. Like most of the scripture, this is counterculture. It's countercultural. What the world places its highest value on, God says it pales in comparison to what he values. And what God values will endure. Beauty, as the world defines it, is momentary at best. But lasting respect and loving affection is to the one who fears the Lord, because the reverence for God produces an inner beauty that is evidenced in every aspect of one's life. To join us on this journey through the Bible, go to TonyPerkins.com, and I invite you to join me weekday mornings for a short devotional based upon the reading plan, which you can find also at TonyPerkins.com. All right, with Senate Democrats delaying a vote on what I call the Disrespect for Marriage Act until the midterm elections, that means we've got some work to do. Also, Republicans on Capitol Hill are moving to prevent any vacuum from forming that would allow Democrats to push through their radical spending agenda. Yesterday, as I mentioned earlier, the House Freedom Caucus held a press conference calling on Republican leaders in the House and Senate to reject any attempts to pass a 2023 omnibus appropriations measure this Congress. They say it needs to move into the next Congress. Joining me now to discuss this and more is Congressman Jody Hice of Georgia. He serves on the House Committee on Oversight and Reform, the House Committee on Natural Resources. He represents the 10th Congressional District here in Georgia. Congressman Hice, welcome back to the program.
Always great to be with you, Tony. Thanks.
Thanks for joining us here at the Pray Vote Stand Summit.
Wow, what an incredible conference it is. It's just nothing quite as inspiring as being with a group of people who are like-minded, who understand what's happening in our country, and they're engaged to make a difference.
Well, and it makes it even nicer that it's close to home.
Yes.
It's not in Washington,
that makes
D.C.
It extremely nice. I was actually able to drive here, so that was a blessing.
All right, before we get into the continuing resolution, the effort to spend money and create the budget for the next government, next Congress, I want to talk about the Disrespect Marriage Act. Came out of the House, 47 Republicans voted for it. The Senate about to take it up before the August break. They waited. Now they realize people are opposed to this. The Democrats now saying, we're not going to do it till after the election. What does that mean?
Yeah, it's kind of a blessing and a curse, I guess. The great news is they're putting it off. They realize that this is a hot potato politically. Of course, you and I understand it's much more than a political issue. This will have ramifications that impact our country and our family forever. I mean, this is a groundbreaking moment, but the Senate is understanding that this is a major issue. And so it's good news that they're putting it off. And this gives the American people opportunity to contact their senators and put the pressure on them. The bad news, putting it off to after the election, I believe some of them are thinking after the election, we can vote this thing in, and at a minimum, we have 2 years for the American people to forget about it. So we've got to play this wisely.
Yeah, so it's coming back after the election. We've got to be paying attention to that. Something else they don't want to come back after the election is a continuing resolution, which is kind of inside language for a spending measure. Instead of doing budgets, they do these continuing resolutions. Republicans are calling for a clean, meaning no increase in spending, no additional riders, and it go into the next Congress so that there is no lame duck budget. Is that right?
Yes, and that's extremely important for people to understand why. If it goes into next year, after the election, and after those who are elected come in, which is where it is. I mean, we've got a hot potato that is going to impact the next Congress and their decisions, how they're going to deal with spending. We need to give it to them. I mean, here we've waited all this time. We're just a couple of months away, and we need to give it to the next Congress to deal with. If that does not happen, which Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats want this to go into what we call a lame duck session, which is after the election, but before all these people are sworn in, then you have people who are exiting, people who really don't care. It's going to come right down to Christmas, and they'll put all kinds of horrible things in the bill.
I've seen this movie before, and there's no accountability because these are individuals in a lame duck who many, as you said, are departing. And people don't realize in almost every congressional election, about a third of Congress changes.
Please, that's right.
So you've got about a third of Congress that's going to be binding the nation in spending that will not have to stand before voters
They won't
again.
be
So no
accountable.
accountable.
That's
no
exactly
accountability.
right. And that's what makes this extremely dangerous. So we're pushing for this CR to be, as you described, without any extra stuff, a clean CR, no additional spending, no additional garbage being put in it. And let's take it into next year so that the next upcoming Congress can deal with our budgetary issues the way they need to deal with it.
I want to switch gears to another topic, immigration. We've talked about this week on the program as the vice president was on the weekend show saying the border is secure. Of course, people laughing at that comment. But the kind of what the media is saying, an escalation in partisan tactics. The AP reporting that the governor of Florida and Texas now sending more of these migrants that are coming across the border into these quote unquote sanctuary cities in Massachusetts. They're sending them in various parts of the country. They've sent them to New York. I mean, so far you've had, in fact, Governor DeSantis sent flights to Martha's Vineyard. And of course, the left going crazy about this. Governor Newsom saying the DOJ should investigate. I want to play a clip of something the president said last night about this. Play clip number 5, please.
Instead of working with us on solutions, Republicans are playing politics with human beings, using them as props. What they're doing is simply wrong. It's un-American. It's reckless.
Reckless? Isn't that not enforcing the law and enticing people to come across the border, risking their lives, advancing human trafficking, and allowing deadly drugs to cross the border? That's playing politics. That's un-American. That's reckless.
And that's illegal. We have laws on the books to protect our borders, and this administration absolutely refuses to defend our borders and to secure the borders. And it's, it would be comical if this were not so real. But these Democrats are upset, and yet they're saying it's a secure border. And yet those who are coming across are being sent to them as like, wow, I thought it was secure.
But see, to me, that just epitomizes what they do. It's the gaslighting of America. They say one thing and they do another.
Absolutely, and they've become masters at that. And listen, the southern border is inexcusable what's happening there. The thousands, tens of thousands of lives that are being lost because of fentanyl coming across the border, not to mention the terrorists and criminals. It is shameful what's going on. The border absolutely is not secure. It is less secure than it has ever been in the history of this country.
You've been there many times.
I've been to every sector of our southern border. I've seen it inside and out. It is a disgrace. It's horrifying what's happening in our southern border. And to this day, the president has not been there. The vice president have not been there. And yet they're saying, oh, it's secure. All is well. All is not well. And the work that Governor Abbott is doing and DeSantis and others is simply portraying what is actually happening.
It's highlighting it for the American people to see.
That's right.
Congressman Jody Hice, always great to see you. Thank you for being here at the Pray Vote Stand Summit and for being a frequent guest here on Washington Watch.
It's an honor to be with you, Tony.
All right, it's great to be in your home state.
Great to have you here.
People a little nicer here than they are DC. Huh?
Yeah, there's no place. Listen,
and we've got a live audience here. You can't see them, but you can certainly hear them. All right, don't go away. We're coming.